lead us in the recitation of the Shema.
Amalek Naaman.
Amalek Naaman.
Shema Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael.
Yahuwah Eloheinu.
Yahuwah Eloheinu.
Yahuwah Echad.
Yahuwah Echad.
Baruch Shem Kavod.
Baruch Shem Kavod.
Malchuto.
Malchuto.
Leolam.
Leolam.
Ued.
Ued.
Uahabta.
Uahabta.
Et Yahuwah.
Et Yahuwah.
Alehecha.
Alehecha.
Bakol.
Bakol.
Lavavka.
Lavavka.
Ubakol.
Ubakol.
Nafshaka.
Nafshaka.
Ubakol.
Ubakol.
Meeldeka.
Meeldeka.
Uhayu.
Uhayu.
Hadarim.
Hadarim.
Haele.
Haele.
Asher.
Asher.
Anoki.
Anoki.
Metzuka.
Metzuka.
Hayom.
Hayom.
Alabalaka.
Alabalaka.
Ushinantam.
Ushinantam.
Labaneka.
Labaneka.
Udibarta.
Udibarta.
Bam.
Bam.
Bashiptika.
Bashiptika.
Bavetika.
Bavetika.
Ubelektika.
Ubelektika.
Balerek.
Balerek.
Ushakaka.
Ushakaka.
Ukumaka.
Ukumaka.
Ukshartam.
Ushartam.
Leot.
Leot.
Alyadaka.
Alyadaka.
Uhayu.
Uhayu.
Letotafo.
Letotafo.
Bang.
Bang.
Eneka.
Eneka.
Uktapam.
Uptaptam.
Al-Mezuzot.
Al-Mezuzot.
Betika.
Betika.
Ubisharik.
Ubisharik.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
It's awesome to be alive on today.
Hallelujah.
The Most High is moving in a miraculous way amongst his people. I've heard testimonies from several people and seen testimonies posted from several people regarding miraculous things that happened during their Sukkot this year. And so we need to be mindful each and every day to give him praise for what he has done. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but he's been healing people. I don't know if you've been watching, but the testimonies are coming forth. We had a testimony from Akote Osaria that her tumors are shrinking.
Hallelujah.
That she's getting better. We had a testimony from Aki Patrick concerning his son, that he was able to read and see without glasses. His glasses were quite thick and he's had them for a long time, but he could read things 20 feet away.
Hallelujah.
Without the glasses on the coat.
Wow.
I had another testimony from an Akote back in Detroit that she was on her way to work and she did not have enough gas to get there. And she was praying about it on the way to work. And when she arrived, she looked down and her gas tank was full.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. I don't know if you're paying attention, but the Most High is moving, and he's not going to wait on you to move with him.
That's right. Okay.
The pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night is moving, and if you don't move with him, you get left behind.
Okay.
You might turn to look back and be that pillar of salt. We had better recognize that the Most High is moving and we had better move with him.
Okay.
Let's go into our praise and worship.
Hallelujah.
With that attitude of gratitude.
Hallelujah.
For what he has done. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. of Jehovah forever. I will dwell in the house of Jehovah forever. I will dwell in the house of Jehovah forever. I will dwell in the house of Jehovah forever.
Hallelujah.
Jehovah is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. Hallelujah. He leads me in the sight of righteousness for his name's sake. Hallelujah. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare the table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. My cup runs over. My cup runs over. Again. My cup runs over.
Hallelujah.
My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life.
Where we gonna dwell, Zion? I know you know. Hallelujah.
And I will dwell in the house of Jehovah forever. I will dwell in the house of Jehovah forever. I will dwell in the house of Jehovah forever. I will dwell in the house of Jehovah forever.
Can I get a witness? Can I get a
house of Jehovah forever. I will dwell in the house of Jehovah forever. I will dwell in the house of Jehovah forever.
Give him a hand clap of praise. He is worthy.
Hallelujah.
He is worthy. He is worthy of all of our praise. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I cannot thank him enough for what he's done for me. Has he been good to you? Has he been good to you, Zion? Has he been good to you? If he's been good to you, give him a hand clap of praise. He is worthy.
Hallelujah.
And Yahushua HaMashiach, who has bought us with a blood-bought price, we say Todah Rabbah for all that you have done. It is a debt that we can never repay. The blood that was shed for us. The ram that was in the bush. Hallelujah. The stone that the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All praise to Yahuwah and his Yahweh Mashiach, Yahusha, the anointed one. Every time I think about him, what he had to go through, what he gave for us, it sends chills up and down my spine. It never gets old what he has done, and we can never take it for granted what he has done. We better be about offering up that praise. He was about the Father's business when he came here, and we need to be about offering up that praise, because our praise is a sweet savor in the ears of the Most High. He inhabits the praises of his people. Hallelujah.
We exalt you. of life. God who saves, God who heals, God who breathes the breath of life. And we sing, Todah, 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 Rabah. And we sing, Todah, 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 Rabah. And we sing, Todah, 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 Rabah. And we sing, Todah, 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 Rabah. Yahusha, Yahusha, we magnify your name. Yahusha, we exalt you. Yahusha, we magnify your name. Yahusha, we exalt you. Yahusha, you bought us with the blood for Christ. It's a debt we can never repay. Yahusha, you bought us with the blood for Christ. It's a debt we can never repay. Yahoo saves, Yahoo saves, Yahoo heals, Yahoo breathes the breath of life. Yahoo saves, Yahoo heals, Yahoo breathes the breath of life. And we sing, Todah, 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 Rabah. And we sing, Todah, 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 Rabah. And we sing, Todah, 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 Rabah. And we sing, Todah, 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 Rabah. Yahoo saves, Yahoo heals, Yahoo breathes the breath of life. Yahoo saves, Yahoo heals, Yahoo breathes the breath of life. Yahoo saves, Yahoo heals, Yahoo breathes the breath of life. One more time. Yahoo saves, Yahoo heals, Yahoo breathes the breath of life. Hallelujah. 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 Todah Rabbah. Todah Rabbah for saving us, for healing us, for loving us like only you can. To be your inheritance is something that we never understood in our wildest dreams in Christianity, that we were your inheritance. Now when we read about the poor and the meek, we begin to have an understanding of who we are and who we are to you and who you are to us, our Elohim. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. You are awesome, perfect in all your ways. We owe you all of our thanksgiving, worship, adoration, and praise. If you're joining us today on the internet, we say Shabbat Shalom to you.
Shabbat Shalom.
And we welcome you to this broadcast from the SALT community. SALT stands for Set Apart Living Torah. And we would like to thank you for your support
that if you've given offerings in the past, now is traditionally the time in our service that we will take offerings. If you look at the informational link in the information box, you'll see a link to our PayPal. If you would like to make an offering, we thank you sincerely and declare that everything that you donate toward the SALT community will be put to good use here on the mountain. We don't tithe money. Tithe was never about money, but we do accept free will and love offerings. So as I go into this next song, please consider if you might support us here. Todah.
Barak Hashem, Yahuwah, Barak Hashem, Yahusha, Barak Hashem, Yahuwah, Barak Hashem, Yahusha, Todah, for all you have done, Todah, for all you're doing, Todah, for all you will do, Todah, hallelujah, Barak Hashem, Yahuwah, Barak Hashem, Yahusha, Barak Hashem, Yahuwah, Barak Hashem, Yahusha, Todah, for all you have done, Todah, for all you're doing, Todah, for all you will do, Todah, hallelujah.
Take a moment and think about what he's done for you. Give him praise. Give him thanks. I know he's been good to you. Because he fed you, clothed you, woke you up in your right mind today with a reasonable portion of health and strength, with a desire to be obedient to him, with a desire to learn of his word, his ways, his character, his attributes. He's good. Taste and see that Yah is good.
Barak Hashem, Yahuwah, Barak Hashem, Yahusha, Barak Hashem, Yahuwah, Barak Hashem, Yahusha, Todah, for all you have done, Todah, for all you're doing, Todah, for all you will do, Todah, hallelujah,
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
hallelujah.
Hallelujah. At this time, we prepare to go into our Torah lesson. Bow your hearts.
Okay.
Master faders up. Testing.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
It's good to see everybody. Good to be here on this Shabbat morning. Got a big fog rolling in today. Can definitely tell that fall is has made its way in.
Okay.
So today we're going to be in Ezekiel. We're going through the book of Ezekiel. We're in the 3rd chapter today, and last week we talked about Ezekiel's call and those things that Ezekiel witnessed. Those things were mighty and powerful, and how they solidified his ability to be able to do and to carry out the things that the Most High were designing for him. Often, when our very core of our understanding has been shaken, or things that we see are so magnificent, we know we cannot come against that. We know we have to do what we're called to do. And we've seen this in the when our foreparents left out of Mitzrayim, how the Most High brought them out with a mighty hand, and began to see and understand that this is their Elohim. And, we look forward to that day when we see the hand of the Most High working on behalf of us as a nation of people. And what we know, that we are a set-apart people, and a people that not going to be like the rest of the world, not going to be like the nations round about.
Okay.
And so we have to have that heart and that mindset, like Ezekiel, understanding that everybody was not going to hear him. Everybody, was not going to listen or be interested in the words that were said. And we'll see that throughout, continuously throughout this chapter, that it's told that everybody's not going to hear.
Okay.
We have to understand that we are in the midst of a stiff-necked people. They were stiff-necked then, and they're stiff-necked now.
Okay.
They're hard to turn, hard to hear. And, understanding that about us, understanding that that characteristic of us as a people, we have to fight against that. Anytime we know that there is something about you that can cause you to not move at the rate that you should, or not be able to accomplish the things that you should, you have to be very watchful of those things so that they don't get in your way, so that they don't become a stumbling block for you. And being stiff-necked, that is one that we definitely have to pay attention to. It's throughout our scripture that we see that we're a stiff-necked people. And knowing that, we've got to be very prayerful. We've got to be at a point where we're studying and we're striving to gain an understanding of the things that the Most High is showing us, those things that he is leading us and guiding us to, that we may be quick to respond to him.
Okay.
We want to be quick to respond to him. We don't have to follow the crowd. Ezekiel had to deal with the understanding that you're not going to be a popular individual. You're not going to be somebody that people flock to. But the Most High was giving him a word, giving him a task and a mission, and he had to be willing to do that. Many seem to want to have the crowd behind them, to have the support of family and friends. And in this walk, when the Most High woke you up to understand who you are and to take that responsibility, we're going to have a lot of people around us that look at us and say, I'm not interested in what they're doing. I don't want to. I don't, they want the support of the people around them.
Okay.
There's going to be things that we're going to be asked to do, and things that that the Most High will require of us that may not necessarily fit in the agenda of the masses around us. But are we going to be willing to follow him, or are we going to follow man?
Okay.
These are the questions that we'll have to ask consistently throughout our walk. We live in a sinful world, and we live in the land of our captivity, and there is a strong and heavy influence in our lives that have taught us things that cause our own downfall. And so we've got to unlearn a lot of those things, and we've got to build upon the strength that we find in the scriptures that our ancestors possessed. Those that succeeded. Because there was many of our ancestors that failed because they would not allow themselves to be moved. They were stiff-necked. And there was those that were humble and willing and allowed themselves to be moldable, that the Most High may be able to use them and to make something of them. When David sinned, he had to have a heart of repentance.
Okay.
Not a stiff neck.
Right.
Not somebody that was trying to make excuses for himself, but was ready to say, you know what, I was wrong.
Okay.
And ask for forgiveness and seek the Most High to put him on the right track. And we have to have that same heart as we move on. So here in Ezekiel, we're going to continue as the Most High is calling the prophet and calling him to be a watchman, and telling him what his responsibilities are as a watchman, and who it is that he's going to have to deal with, and the circumstances by which he would function within his calling. So we won't be before you real long today. Again, now that we are moving into just teaching the book instead of going through the Torah portion, I'm not going to be quite as long-winded, but it still is an odd feeling to not be before you an hour and a half talking. but we're going to try to keep it short and sweet, straight to the point.
Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 1. And he said to me, Son of man, eat what you find. Eat this scroll and go. Speak to the house of Yisrael. And I opened my mouth, and he fed me the scroll. Mm-hmm. And he said to me, Son of man, feed your stomach and fill your stomach with this scroll that I am giving you. And I ate it, and it was sweet as honey in my mouth.
So he was told to take the scroll. Is this the only place that we've seen somebody was required to eat a scroll or a book? No. It's in Revelation, the 10th chapter. Let's go there real quick. Revelation, the 10th chapter, the 9th and the 10th verse.
John chapter 10, verse 9. And I went to the messenger and said to him, Give me the little book. And he said to me, Take and eat it, and it shall make your stomach bitter, but it shall be as sweet as honey in your mouth. Mm-hmm. And I took the little book out of the messenger's hand and ate it, and it was as sweet as honey in my mouth. But when I had eaten it, my stomach was made bitter.
Ezekiel, along with John, was required to take a book or a scroll and to ingest the information, if you would, of what is written there, to be able to give, or to speak to the people, those things that were required of him. Mm-hmm. Often, when we take in a message from the Most High, we know it is sweet. Anything comes from him is going to be good. But what may be bitter is who you have to deliver it to and how they're going to respond to it, knowing that they may not like it. Okay. I mean, we all know what it's like to get good news. Mm-hmm. But we also know that sometimes that good news, when it's given, knowing that somebody, the person that has to receive it may not will not receive it well. It leaves a bitter taste in your mouth. Remember when I first had the opportunity to share with somebody who we were as a people. And to go through the scriptures, you know, that was a sweet taste in my mouth. The idea that I would be able to share some good news, some wonderful, amazing news, okay? That we were the chosen people. That this book here was written about us, for us. That was like honey in my mouth. But I found that it became bitter as I gave the message, as it was rejected over and over and over again because of the damage that we've received in this land of our captivity. Damage to the point where they no longer could see themselves in any value, and that they wanted to maintain and to hold on to the lifestyle or the ideas that they had gained or adopted from this nation. That's very bitter, because the good news comes from the Most High. Bitter because they only wanted to hear or only wanted to live out a life that was provided to them from this nation in which we live in. So the prophet knew that there would be bitterness in the message, but the message itself, from who it came from, was sweet. So he had to take in that scroll and to ingest that and to take in the information and take the word of the Most High. Continue.
Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 4. And he said to me, Son of man, go to the house of Yehezqēl, and you shall speak to them my words.
So go to the house of Israel and speak my words, not your words. It's not something that's going to come from you. So often when we have to take a message, we have to separate ourselves from what is being said so that we're able to deliver it with the confidence and with the authority in which it has been given. These are not your words. This is the words of the Most High. Go to Israel and speak the words of the Most High, not your words. Have that confidence. Let that be the strength behind the voice and the power behind the words that you speak, that they're not yours, but that they come from the mouth of the Most High. Continue.
Verse 5. For you are not sent to a people of foreign speech and of difficult language, but to the house of Yehezqēl, not to many people of foreign speech or of a difficult language, whose words you do not understand. If I had rather sent you to them, they would have listened to you.
Understand that often when we go to people that are familiar with us, they don't want to hear what you have to say. People put value in or lack of value in who the messenger is. If he would be sent to a people that did not understand his language, that they did not know, that they were not familiar with, those people would listen. But because they know you, because they understand you, you're speaking their language, you're living out their customs, they are not going to hear you. They are going to reject you because you are too familiar to them. Let's go to John, the 15 and 20. Before you read that, read the 7th verse of Ezekiel, 3rd chapter.
Verse 7. But the house of Yehezqēl is going to refuse to listen to you, for they refuse to listen to me. For all the house of Yehezqēl are hard of head and hard of heart.
They weren't going to hear him. Most High is letting Ezekiel know before before a word comes out of his mouth, they're not going to listen. They're going to be hard-headed. They are people that were going to struggle to hear and to understand. So again, but this you want to go to John because this is not this is not going to be the last time that that this is heard or that we see this scenario. John 15 and 20.
John 15:20. Remember the word that I said to you, a servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they shall persecute you too.
Mm-hmm.
If they have guarded my word, they would guard yours too.
Mm-hmm.
But all this they shall do to you because of my name, because they do not know him who sent me.
So we see that the prophet was not going to be heard, but the prophet was going to be doing what? Speaking the word of the Most High.
Okay.
But here it is that he can see before him, and he's dealing with the people that have already rejected the word of the Most High. They didn't hear him. So it's going to be easy to see, easy to understand that they're not going to hear you either, but they're going to hear it nonetheless. They're going to need to understand that the Most High is speaking to them, and he's coming to them at the level that they are, from the voice of a man, as that man speaks the words of the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
But understand they're not going to hear you. Understand that they're not going to listen to you because they're stiff-necked and they're hard-headed people.
Okay.
Are we stiff-necked today? Are we hard-headed?
Mm-hmm.
Are we caught up in our own self or in our own comfort? Again, we have to evaluate on a daily basis how we are going about as the Most High is leading and directing us. Are we going to hear him? Because at any given time, any day,
mm-hmm.
he can begin to reveal things that are going to take us to the next step and to the next level.
Hallelujah.
But if we're going to always look around to see who around us is already doing it before we're willing to step out and act, then we're going to find that we're stiff-necked as well.
Okay.
So it's not about who else is doing it, whether or not the Most High has given you an understanding or given you a word. We have to be willing, like the prophet,
Okay.
and like all of our forefathers that have gone out and have done mighty works before the Most High.
Okay.
They're not worried about what man thinks.
That's right.
Not worried about whether the crowds are going with them.
Okay.
But they understand that they're moving in the direction that the Most High is leading them in. And that is important for all of us as we move. Some of us are going to be at the beginning of a learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
Some will be at the end of a learning curve. Some of us have gotten comfortable being at the end of a learning curve. Why? Because it's easy to look ahead and see everybody is moving in that direction.
Okay.
What about the one that had to pave the way,
Right.
that had to cut down the bushes and the thickets to be able to create a path for everybody to walk?
Okay.
That's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hard work. That's the labor, the intensive labor, and the one that has the confidence and the belief that the Most High is called them to do a thing, and is willing to go out regardless of the threats and regardless of the fact that we're not going to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
Ezekiel was given this information before he had even gone into, started his mission, started the task.
That's right.
You're not going to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be the one that has to do the work to cut down the trees and the thickets. You got to create this path and understand nobody's going to be there with you to hear you, to comfort you.
That's right.
Throughout this process. And I believe that's why he had to see what he saw when we were going through chapter 1.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because that gives him the strength, the courage to say, you know what, I have to complete this because I can't, I know that what stands behind me is more powerful than anything that's going to stand before me.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Hallelujah.
This is the courage that we have to adopt as well as we move forward in this last day.
Okay.
He's calling us back to a nation again. He's beginning to teach us some things and to build us that we may be able to accomplish all that he has called us to accomplish.
Okay.
But if we're afraid to be set apart, then how can we then be for him what he is calling us? Because he's saying he's set apart.
That's right.
He's not like any of the other mighty ones. Why do we have to be like the nations around about us then? Is it so scary? Is it so wrong in your heart to be set apart unto the Most High? Is our faith so weak? Are we so connected? Is the world around us, has that become our Elohim? Because if it carries more weight than him, then we have made an idol out of the very people that we have to brush shoulders with from a day-to-day basis.
That's right.
He has called us to be a set-apart people. We've not been set apart. We don't really even know what that looks like until we tear ourselves away from society and all of its trappings. But we have to be willing to do that, and we have to be willing to be different.
That's right.
Okay? There's going to be people that are going to reject that, laugh at that, call it a cult.
Mm-hmm.
Say, oh, we've seen that before. Jim Jones, this or that. The enemy has already fouled the path before to try to get us off of it, to try to get us to turn away from the very thing that the Most High is saying he wants us to do.
Sure.
But we have to have the courage to tread forward.
Okay.
And we've seen it from the very beginning. Noah did not have the nations round about him to help him build the ark. He had those that were looking and wondering, what are you doing?
Right.
This is unlike anything that we've seen, anything that makes sense to us.
Mm-hmm.
This is not part of our customs, our way. But Noah was trying to follow the things that the Most High was showing him. And all he could muster up for help was his 3 sons to help build something that would be their salvation.
That's right.
We don't have all the answers today. Noah didn't have them then.
That's right.
Was he going to be able to explain all in detail, all of that we're going to have to deal with, all that we're going? But I know what the Most High has called me to do, and we can look today and say, I see around about me the Most High waking up people left and right.
That's right.
In masses, we're waking up, like the scripture said that we would.
Mm-hmm.
So it's obvious that he's doing something. Why do we need things to remain the same? We ought to be looking for what he's doing to bring us about, to get us on track of what we lost.
Cain.
But if all we're going to look at is to hold on to what was familiar and what was given to us by our captors, then we're serving them,
Cain.
not him.
Cain.
Continue. Ezekiel.
Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 8. See, I make your face as hard as their faces, and your forehead as their foreheads.
They're going to be hard-headed, stiff-necked, but I'm going to make you that way as well. Not in the same way as them, but you're going to have a hard head to do the things that I called you to do, not to be able to be turned or not to be able to be you're not going to withdraw as the people come against you.
Right.
you're going to stand strong.
King.
We all should want the same thing, to say, you know what? I'm tired of being a stiff-necked people. I'm tired of being hard-headed. Let me be hard-headed for the Most High.
Hallelujah.
Let me be willing to stand when nobody else is willing to stand with me.
King.
Let me be willing to move forward when everybody is shaking in their boots and scared.
Hallelujah. King.
I don't want to be like those that were standing at the mountain and they say, you go talk to them and then tell us what to say. I want to go hear. See, I want to hear.
Yeah.
But they were so afraid, they were telling Moshe, you go talk to him and come back and tell us what he said. But the problem with that is that the enemy gets in the way and says it's a man talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
So many of them found themselves coming against Moshe.
Yeah.
Moshe knew the word. Why? Because he was willing to listen.
That's right.
He had the courage to deal with the esteem of the Most High as he spoke. But those that were afraid and those that were of doubt, they didn't want to hear. And so now they were in a position where, yes, the only thing left is to hear it from a man. But let's have courage. Be willing to move as the Most High is calling us, especially this day. We know, according to Scripture, that everything was robbed and stripped of us.
Right.
But it has to be restored. But if it was restored, what is being restored? Not what everybody else is doing, because then we wouldn't be set apart. But if we know that he's set apart, then what's going to be restored is going to be different than everything we ever known.
King.
Anything that we've ever seen.
King.
What's going to be restored is something that comes from the Most High,
Mm-hmm.
not from man. Are we listening? Are we focused? Are we striving to allow the Most High to restore in us those things that were taken away from us? But we have to have the courage, and we have to have the strength to stand when nobody else will stand with us. Ezekiel is told that this is what is going to be given to him, the ability to stand when nobody else is going to stand with you.
Okay.
Verse 9. Like adamant stone, harder than flint, I shall make your forehead. Do not be afraid of them, nor be discouraged at their looks, for they are a rebellious house.
Don't be discouraged. I'm not going to be discouraged. I know that I have to keep moving forward. I have to accomplish all that the Most High has called me to do. Ezekiel knew as well. Make you like stone.
Mm-hmm.
When they laugh at you, when they tell you you don't know what you're talking about, when they tell you they're not interested, you have to be like a stone, and you have to be strong, and you've got to stand like Ezekiel stood.
King.
Continue.
Verse 11. And he said to me, Son of man, receive into your heart all my words that I speak to you, and hear with your ears, and go, come to the exiles, to the children of your people, and speak to them, and say to them, Thus said the Master Yehezqēl, whether they hear or whether they refuse.
Where are we? We are exiled people.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to hear when the prophet speaks? In order to wake up, in order to be able to move forward according to the Most High, as to what he said, we have to hear the prophet.
King.
I will do nothing unless I reveal it to my servants,
King.
prophets,
King.
first.
King.
We're in exile and we have to hear. We can't be stiff-necked.
King.
I don't want to be like the nation. I don't want to be like the denominational church system, all of which is putrid, all of which is wicked.
Okay.
What I want is to be set apart, like the Most High.
Okay.
Not interested in staying the same. Where do you stand? Are you going to try to be like the Babylonian system? Are you going to try to be to mingle in? Are you Hellenized? To say that the life that I have to live, or the things that I believe in, or the way that I do things has to line up with the way the society runs, so that I can continue to have a smooth sail through this existence. Doesn't sound like I'm set apart when I do that. But to say that I'm willing to be different, I'm willing to be unique, willing to be set apart, the way the Most High has set us. I don't care whether or not it fits into the society of man. I'm not concerned about whether my family, friends, children, or anybody else agree. What is the Most High saying to me? What is he speaking to my heart? Am I willing to be what he wants me to be?
Amos 3:7. Surely Yahuwah will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. You have to dig for that. You have to study for that.
That's right.
You're just not going to be just dropped in your lap. You can't stay in the status quo, just accepting things the way that they've been. You have to open yourself up, because sometimes the Most High is going to do a new thing, because he gets you to a level where you're ready for something new.
Hallelujah.
You can't stay with the stale where you were, because he's been waiting all along for you to grow to the point that you're ready to accept something new.
Okay.
That takes courage. Because the status quo is not going to follow along with that. And it's easy to see the status quo because there's no real light in that, no real truth there. We have to be willing to move in areas where the world hasn't even considered.
Right.
Because it's not going to be given to the world.
That's right.
We know that. And we talk about it all the time. This Torah has not been given to anybody. It's not dealt with anybody other than us. We know that. If we know that, then why are we trying to follow what man does? Why are we trying to be what they are? Do things the way they do? They don't have what we have.
Okay.
So we have to have the courage to move as he is moving us, even though it's going to be different than what we see around about us.
Okay.
And yes, it's got to line up with the word. It's got to line up with what we see going, what we see. And even new things in this time. But we can still find where our forefathers were doing things different and being set apart. So the new thing is not even really a new thing.
Right. Right.
It's just new in the time frame in which we're living in.
Okay.
It's different than what we see of the norm. I'm not trying to be like nobody else. Not trying to build numbers. Not trying to have, a million followers. If it was left up to me, I wouldn't even be on YouTube. People want us to be on YouTube so that they can hear. Those that haven't been able to get themselves here to be in our midst, and that's fine. I'm good with that. But it won't always be. Why? Because I'm not interested in trying to satisfy the needs of the society around me.
Mm-hmm.
Let he that has an ear to hear what the Ruach HaKodesh is saying to the called out assemblies on today. Are you listening?
Mm.
Are you paying attention? The Most High is moving. He's not going to wait on you.
Bad.
You better be ready to move when he moves.
Okay.
I don't think y'all really know what time it is. If you really knew what time it is, would those same words come out of your mouth?
Mm.
If you really knew that he might come today, would you behave the way that you're behaving? Would you live the way that you've been living?
Mm.
I don't think you know how close the time is. This world is not long.
Okay. Hallelujah.
Don't be like the foolish virgins that when the bridegroom came, they were unprepared.
Mm.
We need to be ready and willing and attentive, like a watchman.
Okay.
Mm. Continue, Freed.
Verse 12. And the Spirit lifted me up, and behind me I heard the sound of a great rumbling voice. Blessed be the esteem of Yehezqēl from his place.
Mm-hmm.
And the sound of the wings of the living creatures touching one another, and the sound of the wheels beside them, and the sound of a great rushing.
Mm-hmm.
And the Spirit lifted me and took me away, and I went in bitterness, in the heat of my spirit, while the hand of Yehezqēl was strong upon me.
I went in bitterness. They're not going to hear. They're not going to receive. They're going to be stiff-necked. They're going to be hard-headed. Although the message is great, although it's wonderful, anytime that we know that what the Most High has given us is drawing us closer to Him, that's bringing us back into a true relationship, that's sweet. But what's bitter is to have to give it to a people that you know is going to reject everything that you have to say.
Mm-hmm.
That's bitter. I hear the same story over and over and over again. Tell me about what it's like when you woke up, when the Most High brought you into the understanding, and then the joy that they had, and then as they go out to try to give the word out to their family and friends, it was rejected, and bitterness sets in. Why? Because the good news, the amazing news that we are the chosen people, that we belong to Him, that we are people, that we're covenant people, that in a true covenant is being rejected by the very people that we have loved. So He said, like, I'm going in bitterness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going in bitterness. The only thing that we have to hold on to at that point is that we are doing what we have been called to do.
Okay?
That can be sweet. No, it's not going to fill the room. It's not going to fill the building. But we're going to go knowing that we are doing and following the will of the Most High.
Okay.
And that is important.
Okay. Okay.
15. And I came to the exiles at Tel Aviv, who were dwelling at the river Kibar. And I sat where they were sitting, and sat there, stunned among them, 7 days.
I was stunned, sat there stunned, just looking at people. I mean, it doesn't take much for us to sit and be stunned.
Mm-hmm.
You ever go to the mall and just sit there and watch the people go by? Be stunned at the utter sinfulness of the world around you. I drive and go to Nashville every day, watch people walk around, and every day I'm stunned, just sitting and watching the other sinfulness of the people around about. As they go about their life without a care and a desire for the Most High at all. I watch our people struggle, being hard-headed, not willing to turn, not willing to fulfill the covenant in which their ancestors established between the Most High and them. He sits stunned, watching, knowing the result, knowing that if they don't listen, knowing that if they're not going to hear, judgment will fall upon them quickly. He sat stunned. The prophet sat stunned. Continue.
Verse 16. And it came to be at the end of 7 days that the word of Jehovah came to me, saying, Son of man, I have made you a watchman for the house of Yehezqēl, and you shall hear a word from my mouth, and shall warn them from me.
I've made you a watchman. You sat stunned for 7 days. Now listen to me. I made you a watchman because I'm going to speak to you, and what I speak to you, you need to go and tell all these people because you have a responsibility. So we can be stunned. We can understand that we can have bitterness because of knowing that the people are not going to hear, but we still have a responsibility as a watchman. And this is what he's going to let Ezekiel know. Even though you're going in bitterness, even though you're stunned at what you just got through witnessing for 7 days, I'm making you a watchman, and with that comes a huge responsibility.
In my quiet time with the Most High a couple of weeks ago, he woke me up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And this is what I heard. Warn them. Judgment is coming. Judgment is coming. Mm-hmm. Are you ready? Are your garments clean, Yisrael? Have they been washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you ready? Judgment is coming. Judgment comes to the house of Yisrael first.
Okay.
Judgment is coming. Don't sleep on that.
Okay.
As a watchman, you have a responsibility. I speak something, Most High speaks something to you, if he show you something, and you don't say it, there's going to be consequences. So let's look into that. Read.
Verse 18. When I say to the wrong, you shall certainly die, and you have not warned him, nor spoken to warn the wrong from his wrong way to save his life, the same wrong man shall die in his crookedness, and his blood I require at your hand.
I require it at your hand. If I give you the word to tell them they're wrong, and you don't tell them, that person that is in the wrong will die in their crookedness. And the blood is going to be required of you. We have a responsibility. If he's called us to be kings and priests, a priest has a responsibility to give the word, to speak what has been given to him from the Most High. When the Most High awakens you, or the Most High gives you a dream, a vision, you have a responsibility. You don't sit on that and say, well, me and mine, we gonna make it. Why? Because I didn't told them, and they, you be like, well, you gonna tell everybody else? No, they can get it on their own. No, I've made you a watchman. I'm giving you a word. You have a responsibility to go out and to speak those things that I am speaking to you. You have a responsibility to tell that wrong man when he's in the wrong. Because if you don't, when he died, and he will die in his crookedness, it's all your fault. The blood is on your hands. Continue.
Verse 20. Verse 19. But if you have warned the wrong, and he does not turn from his wrong, nor from his wrong way, he shall die in his crookedness, and you have delivered your being.
So you can be delivered. But you first have to have the responsibility to make sure you've gone out and given the word. And all of us that know better have a responsibility to get the people out of mess. They choose to stay in that mess. That's on them. But when you know to do right, you know you're in mess, know you're in wrong, and because it's not comfortable, or because it's not what everybody else is doing, or because it interferes with your ability to easily navigate through this exile that we're in, you're going to cause another person to die in their wrong, and the blood is going to be required in your hands. You have to tell them. You've got to move out of mess when you know you're in mess.
Okay.
James 4:17. Therefore, to him that knoweth to do good, and doeth it not, to him it is sin.
Say that again.
James 4:17. Therefore, to him that knoweth to do good, and doeth it not, to him it is sin.
We got to move out of mess. Many of us know the Most High speaking to our heart about getting out of Dodge, leaving Babylon. But we look around and we see the comfort. We see family and friends and jobs and the prestige that we may have acquired. And he's like, no, I want you to be set apart. I need you to leave all of this trappings that you're involved in. But you don't want to leave. You want to hold on to that. And that's just one thing. There's many things. We've all had the Most High speak to us in one way or another, telling us to be able to let something go, give this up, stop doing this or that. But we stay in it because it's comfortable. The difficult thing is to move out of that. The difficult thing is to try something new, to try something, to do something that is set apart, different from everybody else around you. Watchman has a responsibility to let the people know. A lot of times we like to call ourselves watchmen because that's a cute word. It makes us feel important. It makes us feel like, oh, we're listening. But we're not always following through with what the Most High said. We gotta understand that being set apart is not going to be comfortable. It's not going to fit the present paradigm. Being set apart is not going to fit what we were taught in school, not going to fit the schedules of the heathen. Okay. It's not going to fit in the family, in the culture of the family in which we've been raised in. It's not going to fit.
It's not going to fit the lies that you've been told. It's not.
It's going to create an air of uncomfortability. But if this is what you're hearing the Most High say, if this is what he's showing you, and he's showing you you're in the wrong, then seek to move out. Don't seek to stay in. Don't look for reasons to stay in mess.
Right.
but look for a light to get out. Look for a path that has already been paved. It might not be big. I guarantee you it's not going to be big because it's not going to be heavily treaded upon. Because only few going to find it. But we got to look for it. And it's there. Get on that path and get out of that putrid water that you're in.
Verse 20. And when a righteous one turns from his righteousness and shall do unrighteousness, when I have put a stumbling block before him.
Who puts a stumbling block?
Jehovah says, when I have put a stumbling block before him,
Okay.
he shall die. Because you did not warn him, he shall die in his sin, and his righteousness which he has done is not remembered, and his blood I require at your hand.
Sometimes the Most High puts a stumbling block to slow you down, to get you to see that you're headed off in the wrong direction. You're a righteous one, trying to do right, following Torah, wearing the garments, speaking the language, telling your children, telling your family that we are who we are, but then because you've gone off in the, because you're doing something that you ain't got no business to doing, and Most High began to put something in the way to help you to see it, and you don't allow him to do that, you're going to end up dying in the wrong. We've got to get to a point where we understand this journey we are on. We're going to move from, the scripture said we move from glory to glory or esteem to esteem. We're going to start off with a level of knowledge and understanding, but we got to build on that. Okay? And move from the present esteem to a greater one.
Okay.
As more information and more knowledge is being given, we've got to have the courage to move from where we're at to the greater. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be areas that might not even seem like, man, you're going to question whether or not I'm even right. But if I know that where I'm leaving is bad, then I can keep looking forward, even though the road gets rough, even though I know I might have to get some of the thickets out of the way. But we can't stay in mess. If he said you're righteous, it's because, yes, you're on the right road, but understand that sometimes we just, we can get comfortable. We can get complacent. And then stiff-necked and the hard-headedness start to seep in, and we're not willing to move on. Some of us have done a great thing by moving out of Christianity. It took a lot of courage. It took a lot of guts to leave a foundation of lies, to follow the entire scripture, not just a third of it, but to follow the entire scripture, all of what the Most High has said. It took a lot of courage to do that. Why? Because, like all of us know, much of our family began to reject us the moment we started doing that. But then you get complacent, because now you're in a new group. And that group may have already become stagnant and complacent and not willing to move any further. But we have to consistently keep moving, because the journey is not over. We are not there yet. We have to keep moving. We've got to keep building. And when new information has been revealed, new knowledge that we're not in a good system, or we're in putrid waters, then we got to be willing to move out of that.
Okay.
To be able to find the truth and true light and fresh water and good bread.
21. But if you have warned the righteous one that the righteous should not sin, and he did not sin, he shall certainly live because he had been warned, and you have delivered your being.
You have a responsibility even to the righteous to make sure that they stay on the right path.
Okay.
And if you do that and they keep moving, they don't allow themselves to get caught up in unrighteousness, then you've done a good thing. That individual will be saved. That individual will live. And you've done what you're supposed to do. And that individual will not be, you will not be held accountable to that individual. So there's responsibility on both sides. The watchman has a responsibility, and the hearer has a responsibility. If you hear the watchman speak when you're in sin, then you need to get out of it. Because he's telling you, if you listen and hear, then you'll live. Whether you're from an unrighteous perspective or from a righteous perspective. Because many of us, because of our righteousness, we can't see the sin that we're in, and somebody has to tell us, look, you're in sin, you're stagnant, you're not moving. You're not hearing the Most High. You're not seeing as He's beginning to reveal things to us.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're hearing, then have the courage to keep moving. Get out of sin. Get out of the stagnant waters.
Okay.
And come to fresh waters, so that the Most High can continue to keep revealing things to you, so that we can one day wake up and know all of who we're supposed to be, that we can truly be a set-apart people, not worried about what the nations around about us are doing, saying, or how they're living. But we can truly have the relationship that the Most High desires to have with us. Read.
Verse 22. And the hand of Jehovah came upon me there, and he said to me, Arise, go out into the plain, so that I may speak to you there.
I need to speak to you in private.
So I got up and went out into the plain, and see, the esteem of Jehovah stood there, like the esteem which I saw by the river Kibar, and I fell on my face. And the Spirit entered me, and set me on my feet, and spoke with me, and said to me, Go, shut yourself inside your house.
Sometimes we need to go to that quiet place. We need to go to that place alone to be able to hear clearly what the Most High has to speak to us. Some of us struggle with the quiet. Some of us struggle with the openness and the plain. Because we want people around. We want security of a friend, of a mate. But sometimes we have to be alone. Sometimes we have to be in that quiet place so that the Most High can speak only to us. He wants to deal with us from the perspective that He has called us. Sometimes we can't hear in the midst of all the traffic, the sirens, the entertainment, the electronics. I've been trying to practice when I go out to pray, and I'll walk around the pond, to leave all electronics behind. I don't want to know if the phone rings. I don't want to know if I get a text. I don't want to know if I get an update, because I want my focus to be on Him. I want to be able to listen for Him, not listen for a ding or a ring, or to know that something's been updated. Somebody's trying to reach me. Somebody's poking at me. Go to that quiet place and leave all the electronics behind. Speak to the Most High in all the words that you know to speak. And when you're done speaking, just stay there in the quiet and listen and allow him to speak to your heart. Allow him to begin to reveal things. Allow him to get to be able to strengthen you from your ruach. Don't be so quick to come back, to become, to get part of, in the mix with everybody. But just sometimes just sit there, lay there, stand there, and just allow him to speak to you. Sometimes you might not know that he's speaking to you until days later, when you begin to notice that I'm doing things differently, or I can see how he is moving me in the very thing that I prayed about. When I go back to the Word, I began to see something there that I didn't see before, because he's planted something inside my heart, giving me an insight that I didn't know before. And I say that we always need to be seeking him out, especially in this day. There's a lot of things that we've been taught that we have to unlearn, and he has to teach us all over again. So some things that we studied 5, 10 years ago, we need to restudy today. Why? Because he's trying to speak to us again. Maybe back then it wasn't time for you to gain an understanding. Maybe you weren't ready. Maybe you weren't strong enough to receive. But today you are. But we have to go sometimes to that quiet place. Go be by ourselves. Go lock the door behind you so that we're not disturbed. Leave all electronics behind or turn them all off. Read.
25. And you, O son of man, see, they shall put cords on you and bind you with them, so that you do not go out in their midst.
Mm-hmm.
And I make your tongue stick to the roof of your mouth, so that you shall be dumb and not be a reprover to them, for they are a rebellious house.
Understand that you're not going to be treated fairly. You're not going to be treated with honor. They're going to abuse you. Physically abuse you. And I'm not even going to give you the words to rebuke them. You won't have the ability to articulate what they're doing wrong, because I'm going to shut your mouth. And you'll speak when I'll give you to speak, but not on your own, not to defend yourself, not to be able to make them see and understand the wrong that they're doing. Because you're going to be a vessel for him, and you'll speak when he gives you to speak. You'll be silent when he wants you silent.
Okay.
It's not always important for us to defend ourselves. Most High do. He's there watching over you, your life. He understands what he's put you through, but he's doing something in you as he's doing something in those around you. They may have to accomplish or fulfill the role of the sin that the Most High, is going to allow them to do in order to hold them accountable for everything that they've done. But if we get in the way, then we can muddy the waters of judgment. And so yes, they're going to bind you. They're going to tie you up. They're going to abuse you. and you're not even going to be able to say anything. And to them, and to those that are around about, doing their dirt, they're going to feel justified in what they do. But understand the Most High has set you up for this, and that they will be judged. They will have to deal with what it is that they're doing.
Verse 27. But when I speak with you, I open your mouth, and you shall say to them, Thus said the Master Yahweh, He who hears, let him hear, and he who refuses, let him refuse, for they are a rebellious house.
But when I'm speaking through you, you ain't going to be talking about this. I think y'all doing wrong. Now, that's not the words that are going to come out of your mouth. It's not going to be, in my interpretation, this is the understanding that I have based off of what you're doing. No, that's not going to be the conversation. But he's going to say, you're going to say to the rebellious house, Thus saith Yahweh. And it will be on them to hear. They will have to stand in account as to whether they hear or whether they refuse. Because what they refuse will not be your words, but it will be the very words of the Most High. What they hear and accept won't be your words, but it will be the very words of the Most High. This is not about Ezekiel. This is not about us. But all esteem goes to the Most High.
Okay.
The life that you live, it's not about you. It's not for you. It is a life that brings esteem to the Most High. So it's not about your comfort. So it's not about whether or not you like it. It's not about what you planned. It's not even about your happiness, but it's about the Most High. Is he going to get esteem out of your life? Will he be able to use you as you go about your life to bring understanding, to bring even judgment in the lives of those that are around? Or is it all about you, about what you want, your comfort? What's fair? We really got to get that word out of our hearts and our minds. What's fair? Because nowhere here in what the Most High was calling Elijah to do, Ezekiel. Nowhere here do we see fairness. You have a responsibility. I'm calling you to do this or that.
Okay.
It's not about whether or not it's fair, whether or not it's comfortable, or whether or not they're like you, or whether or not you're happy. It's about whether or not how the Most High wants to use you to be able to bring about whatever it is that he's trying to do. We have to have a willingness to do that. The rewards come later. Not now. When this work that we're doing in this flesh is done, then we'll get our reward. But right now, what we ought to be seeking out is whatever it is that he wants for us. What has he called you to do? What did he make you to do, to accomplish? What is your gift? What is your calling? That's what you function in. That's what you focus on. If he called you to play the guitar, then you play the guitar. Don't look at the group. See, well, the crowd ain't big enough. playing with other musicians that are at my skill level, so I'm not going to play at the level that brings him esteem. Or I'm not reading for a moray that I have the highest level of respect for. What did he call you to do? What is your gift? It's not about you. It ain't fair. Why do I have to keep going through this? Why do I suffer here? Why do I have to live here? Why do I have to go through this? Well, we all have those questions. You're not the only one. Why do I have to pray all the time? When do I get to enjoy this or that? Why do I got to go shovel up and clean up behind animals? Why do I have to sew? Why do I have to cook? Why do I have to go out work 10 hours a day? Everybody's got a complaint. Everybody's got something. But what did the Most High call you to do? Ezekiel was called to be a watchman. What is your call? Ezekiel had a responsibility, a huge responsibility. And yours is just, it carries the same weight. He called you to cook, to make sure it's seasoned well. Make sure it's got the tenderness it's supposed to have. If it ain't supposed to have black edges, then make sure it ain't, it don't have black edges. It's cooked the right way. Given to the people that are serving the Most High and that they enjoy that meal, whether they thank you or not. Ezekiel was told flat out, they ain't gonna listen to you. But don't let me catch you sitting around not saying what I told you to tell them. Because you have a responsibility. Whether they hear or not, whether they accept it or refuse it, you have a responsibility. You don't have to see the outcome. You don't have to understand the good or the bad from it. Just do what I called you to do. The rewards come later. Ezekiel, a watchman. You put your name in front and then put your title after it. What did he call you to do? And that's your responsibility. You need to have the courage, the strength, and the desire to fulfill everything that he's called you to do. Okay? That's what we found doing. If he told you to stand on the square, then when he comes, you need to be on that square doing the exact thing that he's called you to do, regardless of anybody else is doing it with you. All of us are not going to be called to do the same thing. All of us, are not. So, some of us have to go out and be at the head of the crowd and take the blunt of all of the abuse. There's some of us that are in the back, reaping the benefits of all the hard work of those that have gone on before. But the rewards are coming in the end. Your strength should come from the joy that's set before you. When I can stand before him and hear the words, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." There won't be any complaints then about why it wasn't fair or why did I have to go through this? You asked me to do more than Josh. You asked me to do more than Yehezqūt. what's fair. It's about what he called you to do. And once we do that, then we know that we're in his will. Understand the same thing that the vision that Ezekiel saw that gave him the strength, the courage, the drive to be able to stand and do all that he was, is there watching you. It's there watching you. No, you didn't see it, but you read about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's there to make sure that you are accomplishing what you've been called to do, to give you the strength to do it. The same miracles that gave our foreparents the ability to leave Mitzrayim stand before us. No, I don't see it physically, but I'm reading about it. It's there for me as well. The same mighty hand that took our forefathers out of Mitzrayim is going to take us out of this land.
Okay.
Right now, I might not understand all the things that the nations are going through in judgment, but believe me, they're going through it to be able to deliver me. And so I stand strong, waiting for my call, waiting for my opportunity to walk through the gates to the freedom that the Most High is delivering me to.
Okay.
To bring me into a land flowing with milk and honey. A good land. Shema, you got the last word.
Matthew 7:13. Enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be that go in thereat. Because strait is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and there be few that find it. Are you in the remnant today? Are you seeking him? Are you knocking at the door? Are you desiring to go in and have a closer walk with him? Whatever that looks like in your life, is that the attitude of your heart today? It doesn't matter what the crowd is doing. He has an appointed time for you.
Okay.
What's in your hand? What's your gift? What's his plan for you? His plan for you is not the same as his plan for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we both want salvation. We must both endure until the end. But what is your mission? What is your mission today? What is the part that you play in the body of believers? Everybody can't be a hand, because the body can't stand without a foot. What is your part? Why are you worrying about what the person next to you is doing and not trying to do what you can do within what he gave you to be the most that you can be?
Okay.
It is he that has made us and not we ourselves. He's still shaping you. You're a work in progress. You're not there yet. But his mercy is new every day. And every day you wake up is another chance to get it right. It's not about being right. It's about getting it right before the Most High. Is that your desire on today? If it is, you might have to break from the crowd.
Okay.
What would have happened if Abram had never left Ur the Chaldees?
Good point. Good point.
Where would we be today? What if Noah didn't build the ark?
Mm-hmm.
Where would we be? is his plan for you. I'm at a point in my life now where I'm happier than I've ever been. Count it all joy. Why? Because I know that I'm in the place where he wants me to be, doing the thing that he wants me to do. I'm talking to you today. I'm where he wants me to be, doing what he wants me to do, desiring to have a closer walk with him. Yes, I wasted a lot of years in my life when I wasn't on the right track. But I give him all the praise that he's awoken me and brought me to the place where I am today, where I can serve him with all that is within me. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Choose life. Choose life and serve him with all you've got. Because that's the way that you get to the reward. He comes quickly. Behold, he comes quickly, and his reward is with him. Count it all joy. Count it all joy. It might be hard, but keep on pushing. Keep on pressing in. Keep on. Because the bridegroom is waiting for you. He's looking for you. Will you be there when he knocks on the door? Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Let us pray. Abiyah, we come now saying Todah Rabbah for your word that's come from your Torah today. Help us to be not just hearers of the word, but doers of the word. We understand that as we move along, you put us in situations. Sometimes you put a stumbling block in the way. Sometimes you test us to see if we've learned that which you've given us to learn. And if we make the wrong mistake, we keep coming to that situation again. Why? Because we haven't learned yet. Help us to learn that which you have for us and to do it.
Okay.
Lead us and guide us in your paths of righteousness for your name's sake, Abiyah. Todah Rabbah for this day. Help us in our unbelief. Grow our faith. That we can be attentive and hanging on every word that proceeds out of your mouth. Not just the ones that sound good to us. Not just the ones that we want to hear. Not just the ones that tickle our ears. But every word, even the ones we don't understand. Because in you, we have our salvation. Todah for the food which we are about to receive. Barak to the nourishment of our bodies and our minds. Todah for the spiritual food that you've given us on today, and for the physical food that we're about to enjoy. Sanctify it and purify it in Hashem Yahushua. Hallelujah.
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 Shalom, shalom.
Repeat after me. Yehovah bless you and guard you.
Yehovah bless you and guard you.
Yehovah make his face shine upon you.
Yehovah make his face shine upon you.
And show favor to you.
And show favor to you.
Yehovah lift up his face upon you.
Yehovah lift up his face upon you.
Give you.
And give you.
Shalom.
Shalom.